We have black young soldiers here asking for reparations from the white people. It's a nice video. Let's watch this video and then we continue.
Today we're going to tell you why we need restitution and reparation from the Roman Catholic Church. Let's talk about how the Roman Catholic Church contributed in the transatlantic slave trade. First, they instructed Portugal and Spain to invade, murder, and subdue all sub-Saharan Africa. They identified us as black Gentiles in which took away our rights, and they created laws that told people how to treat black people unfairly. Let's also not forget how the Roman Catholic Church benefited from the transatlantic slave trade. One, they had a huge increase in tithes. Two, they had a big and political power. Let's also not forget how my ancestors' land was acquired by the Roman Catholic Church to build more Catholic churches like this one. Let me tell you how my ancestors were affected during the transatlantic slave trade. One, they violated our rights and privileges. Two, they stole our lands and our resources. Three, they destroyed our family culture and our family structure. We can't forget how black people are still affected by the transatlantic slave trade to this day. One, we don't have access to our own land. Two, we can't trace back our own family lineage. And three, we can't connect with our own people because our identity is lost. After hearing all of that, we're here to tell you that we need restitution and reparation for the Roman Catholic Church. Right now! Right now! Today.
Welcome back. I am the Kenyan Beast. Of course, we are doing it the African way every day, every time. Now, these are young students, are black upcoming soldiers. Black people must have soldiers. When this generation goes, we need another soldiers from another generation. We need the soldiers who are Gen Zs so that we can fight this battle and we cannot get tired. It started way back in 1880s. Our ancestors fought the battle. Generation after generation, they have been fighting this battle and we are going to win it. On this video that we have seen with these students, I will talk about impact of Catholic Church in Africa. And when you talk about Christianity, Christianity has a lot of benefits and has a lot of negative in Africa. Christianity has caused a lot in Africa. But for me, I can say Christianity has caused a lot of negative in Africa. We need to be united by church, but I see church is one of the blacks. Church is one of the gangs that have bring Africa down. And when you talk about Christianity in Africa, we talk about Catholic Church. Catholic Church, when you talk about Catholic Church and colonization, or when you talk about colonization, when you talk about slavery, when you talk about discrimination, it's a must. You must come across a name. You must come across this Church of Catholic Church. When you talk about education, healthcare, when you talk about cultural exchange in Africa, you will not cease to talk about Catholic Church. Now, despite it being a church, it has its negative impact to Africa. Despite it having positive impact, again, it has negative impact to Africa. But for me, I can say the Catholic Church, everything or the influence or the presence of church in Africa, it's all about negative. I don't see any positive there. For example, let's start with a positive contribution. Catholic Church contributed in education in Africa. And when I talk about education, it introduced formal education to many African regions. Mission schools were established to teach literacy, numeracy, and Christian theology, providing access to knowledge to many communities. And when you talk about education, it's the key of knowledge where this younger generation back then, they changed everything. They were started being taught formal education, and it has negative and positive impact. Catholic Church introduced healthcare, and when they introduced healthcare, formal or they introduced hospitals, we as Africans left our old ways of doing things. We left our old ways of using herbs. And I get that during that time we were using herbs, roots, leaves. There were no many diseases because they were curable. These diseases were brought by the people who brought these health. These diseases, most of them, the viruses, were brought to us by the people who brought this health. And these health services. You cannot tell me that without them to come in Africa, we were dying every day and time because we lacked medication. or good health. But right now, they bring quality health, they bring deadly virus, deadly foods, deadly everything so that you can use their medication. Catholic Church provided a platform for intercultural exchanges and preservation of local languages by translating religion texts. Now, that is one of the positive things that Catholic Church did to Africans. But again, as I said, I think that a lot of negative impacted Africa. For example, cultural erasure. When Catholic Church came, it replaced traditional African religion, cultural and practices with Christianity. Indigenous beliefs were frequently labeled as pagan or savage, leading to the suppression of cultural heritage. They said our way of praising, of our way of worshiping is bad. And they did away with our ways and they brought theirs. They said our ways is pagan. And Africans happily left their ways of worshiping, left going to the mountains, and they started going to churches. And this was the erasure of traditional churches. Another thing is about the cultures, how the beliefs of Africans. We had to live our beliefs so that we can live according to their beliefs. We can live according to how they want us to live. It was scripted. It was scripted. I think it was scripted. They will come this, you will bring the Bible, you will bring this, and they will follow and they will change exactly or automatically. So this is one of the things that has made Africa or has made Catholic Church to be seen like a negative to Africa, because they are the one who made us Africans live our own ways, our traditional ways, our cultural ways. Now we cannot do them anymore. When you do it anymore, it is being called witchcraft. It is being called, a lot of names, voodoo and all that. Again, collaboration with colonial power. They did this because it worked closely with the European colonization, justifying colonization as a civilizing mission. This collaboration sometimes legitimized the exploitation and oppression of Africa. If Catholic Church, they brought the church, it is being said good news. They brought the Bible with good news. Why were they siding with the colonization? Why were they legitimizing exploitation, human trafficking, and everything that happened to Africans? Why? If really they were good people, they could condemn these evils that were being done by the colonizer. But instead, they supported, they said it's good, they said it is perfect to do that. And that's why I doubt sometimes. Negative impact, loss of anatomy, and we're gonna talk about slavery and racism, because some Catholic figures opposed slavery, but others justified it. For example, the church did not openly condemn slavery for much of its history, and some missionaries benefited from the system. They supported slavery. Is that the Church of God? Is that, did they bring or did they bring the good news to Africans? Or did they come to destroy the goods we have? Did they brought the good news to Africans? Or they just come to destroy what we have? That's a food for thought. The Catholic churches reinforced system in many African societies by limiting roles for women within its structures. We call it gender inequality. It supported that. We talked about loss, or I talked about loss of anatomy. That means by imposing European countered theological interpretation, the church often disregarded the agency of African communities, introducing systems that centralized control under foreign clergy and sidelined local leadership. Up to today, some African clergy and leaders challenge Eurocentric narratives within the church, advocating for more context. Up to today, the Catholic Church remains a significant institution in Africa with millions of followers. Again, if we access knowledge, we will find that the Catholic Church was against the human race, against the black race in Africa. because they are the one who brought these good things like health, education, blah, blah, blah. But they are the one who brought and supported racism. They supported exploitation. They supported colonization at large. As you think a church is somewhere you may go and find peace, but again, a church is somewhere you go and get chaos. Now, these young soldiers are here saying that the Catholic Church needs to pay. They're here saying that they need reparations. And this is the spirit we want from the black people, the spirit of Africanism, the spirit of Pan-Africanism, the spirit to know that we are the best, the spirit to know that we are no longer going to be the second, or we are not the second. When we look at how Catholic Church impacted the life of Africans, I can support that. Yes, it's true. We need reparations from Catholic Church, because as I read the story of Belgium King Leopold II, he sent missionaries to Congo to go and do what? Brainwash them, so that the colonizers, they can get free airtime. We call airtime, like they can just come in and do whatever they want without being asked. And I wonder why Africans left their own cultural, man. I wonder why Africans left their way of worshiping and started following things they don't know. How did they know that is the right thing to follow? How? Because when we were praising, when we were worshiping our gods here, things were happening and great things were happening. But when we started worshiping the God of the white people, we left our own God. That's where rain started falling. It's okay. I was just reacting on a video of these young soldiers here reacting on talking about reparation, talking about Catholic Church, and I decided to dive in Catholic Church matters, the negative impact and the positive impact to Africans. And for me personally, I get it has more negative impact to Africans than a positive impact, because when we say it has impacted Africa positively, we are wrong. Because if it has impacted positively, we cannot be talking about slavery. We cannot be talking about exploitation. We cannot be talking about some Africans are poor and some are rich. It's because of these churches. Tell me what you think in the comment section about this video. I am the Kenyan Beast. Of course, we are doing it the African way, every day, every time. Until next episode, peace be with you.